than 5.
Less than 5.
Hello, stream. I'm eating a good egg roll. I never start the show officially like goalie wants me to. So we're just going to get down to business. We got a good show today. Hitch was moving or out of town or something, so he couldn't be on. But we have some great guests today. We got Robby, the now CEO. We got Skylar Foreplayy from Envious. And we're going to have a good conversation. So I want to start, we always start in 6. You guys are going to introduce yourselves, and then you're going to say, if you had to wrap up your entire life in only 3 words, what would those 3 words be? And I'm going to start with Fatty, and then I'm going to go to Robby, and then Foreplayy, and then myself. 3 words to wrap up your entire life. And then also make sure you mention what organizations within the Call of Duty community you are affiliated with when you say who you are. Go ahead, Fatty.
All right, my 3 words are short, fat, and happy. Actually, that's 4 words.
That's not even fair. He has his like prepped, and I'm next.
Well, that's just like I bet I could have asked anybody. Like, if you work with me like at all, and you
Short,
ask me
fat,
how I'm doing, that's my answer: short, fat, and happy. Like for the last probably 15 years. So that's me in a nutshell. Currently, I write for Gamma Gamers, which that reminds me, I got to get an article out. I do casting for anybody that will have me, and I actually just signed a contract with Cinch Controllers, so I'm excited about that.
Hey, you're teaming with Keemstar. Congratulations.
Oh, for real?
They just announced today that he's on there.
Yeah.
Cinch is good guys, though. They're cool.
Yeah, I like them. And I like the controller, so, I mean, I would have liked to work with other companies too, but... Anyways, next.
Just slide that in there.
Slide that in there. It's in the DMs.
Reply here. It's Mighty Fatty. So
All right,
I'm
go
next.
ahead, Robby. Yeah.
I guess currently I'll use my 3 words: Denial Esports, motorcycles, and entrepreneurship. I'll just go with that.
Motorcycles?
Yeah, I ride motorcycles a lot, and I race at the local tracks. So I have fun doing that in my free time, if I ever get any. So I probably ride motorcycles just as much as Sky works out. No,
That's
no
funny.
one does as much as that.
You ride motorcycles every day?
Like 8
Yes.
hours a day?
I try. I actually got my key broken off in my gas tank on my motorcycle 2 days ago, so it's been out of commission for 2 days.
What motorcycle do you have?
I have an 1100XX Super Blackbird for the street, and then
Whoa.
a 600RR for the track.
Whoa.
The track, he says.
It's official.
It's a track bike. It's a built 600. It'll do 174 miles an hour before the back straight, and then I wait till I see God and slam on the brakes. That's it.
You got to get a denial helmet.
I have Asphalt Junkies, which is one of my old teams that I used to play around with on the back of my bike. So I should add denial. That's a good additive. I should do that.
All right, Sky, you're up.
Okay. 3 words would be just getting started. And I currently am silent partner, co-owner, founder of Envy. Mainly silent partner. I got to make sure I say that. And I work for, obviously, Gamma Gamers, Gamma Labs, affiliation with that. And then outside, just do side work with Scuff, Astro, all the beautiful companies inside the community. So that's pretty much it. Yeah. Oh, we're supposed to do hobbies or something?
No, you're good.
Okay. Good.
You don't have to tell us your hobbies. Most of us know. They said in the chat that you look more intimidating than the rest of us.
See, that isn't true, actually.
No, he's a
True.
big teddy bear.
I'm intimidated by that, just to be honest. Like,
Why? Because I'm short?
I can't tell you're short on camera. Honestly, I wonder how short you are. Like,
That's because he's standing up.
How tall are you actually?
I'm 5'6", if that.
Oh,
Like,
you
I-
are short.
Damn.
I'm probably like
Dang.
I'm probably like 5'5" and 3/4 or something. Actually, I've probably been lying to myself. the
Oh,
whole
you're
time.
not 5'5".
You're the only person going in reverse or what?
Yeah. Well, I'm old, dude. Like
Benjamin Button is sitting to my
for real. I wish. I am getting gray, but no. Yeah, I've always been short and fat and happy, so it's good. And I've met both Robby and Foreplayy, so they know I'm short.
I think Sky's the only person in esports bigger than me. I'm just kidding.
Oh, wow. All right, Mr. Phantom.
Pluto's pretty big, dude.
Thank you for subbing to the channel. Fatty, I have to meet you one day because imagining you as I see you in videos, in like when I saw your ice bucket video, imagine you at 5'5" is really mind-boggling. Like,
Yeah, it's like if I was an
Have to
inch
see
taller, I would be a box.
all right. My 3 words. My name is Kingdom Soldier. I do some stuff with Gamma Gamers and G Fuel. I'll have a show on the channel tomorrow. My first Esports weekly update will be going up there. And this is my channel, my Twitch channel, and we just got partnered. We have a sub button now. We got a donate button. Mr. Phantom TV, thanks again for subbing to the channel. Put the little thug face and the little cape man or whatever we got in there, the sub emotes. And I do some stuff on YouTube. My 3 words would be genuine, committed, and patient. If you guys have been around my YouTube channel for the last 2.5 years, then you'll know that's me. So I want to start off the show today talking, of course, first and foremost to Robby, the CEO. And Foreplayy is a little more known, but I would still like him to be even more known. Hopefully, we're going to dig a little bit more into who Foreplayy is in a moment. But Denial CEO, Robby, your team recently, the success is uncanny what's happening. You guys have been, I believe, in the championship of the last 3 2Ks and 5Ks, and you won the last 2. You won the 5K yesterday, won the 2K last week, and then you were in the finals 3 weeks ago. You guys won the last LAN, and it seems like this team, with the exception of the league, which I'm going to ask you about that in a moment, but it seems like your team is just clicking on all cylinders. They're playing well. I was watching Replay's video today, what he was talking about. It seems like this team, after they got put together, they started winning, and they haven't slowed down. And so I just wanted to kind of ask you simply, how excited are you about your team's success?
I'm pumped, and I like it because mainly the fact when we got back from Anaheim, Zuma obviously wasn't happy. The team didn't do what he thought it should have done in Anaheim. So I went to Zuma and I said, look, give me a shot. Let's take what the Niles resources we have. I'll tweet out. I think I tweeted out exactly what I'm offering the team: $500 a month, gaming house, all expenses covered, whatever you guys want. And he's like, we're not gonna be able to get anybody. I was like, just give it a shot. You're under contract. I'll let you pick any 3 players you want. We'll build from the ground up. I want to build this team around you. And it worked. Like, we got 3 players because at first he's like, no, man, we're not gonna get anybody. I'm just gonna go to whatever team offered him, and I know the teams that offered him, but I'm not gonna name names or anything. There's stupid in the past. But he just didn't have faith at first, and then I said, just wait 3 days. There's no rush. This is Call of Duty. I know you want to get the next quick thing real quick, but just wait. And then him waiting, now I think he realizes that remaining loyal helped him win a championship, and that's sweet. Now I have Zuma that's loyal. He knows what happened, and he's appreciative. And then the other guys, they won the event, I guess, and then everyone says they're kind of like got dropped and such. Weird things happen. I wouldn't consider them all dropped players, but when we picked up the whole team, put everyone together, it clicked, and now it's working. We're firing on all cylinders, and I've had a lot of success in other games. I've never had to put as much money into a game as I have in Call of Duty to get successful. So, Foreplayy knows when I came into Call of Duty, I was kind of swinging things around like, hey, I'm big in League of Legends, big in other games. Let's just knock this out of the park and pick up a top 5 team. Hurry up. And I had to wait. I had to learn the scene and learn everything about it, inject a lot of money, and then eventually found success. So I'm happy how it's going now.
Why Zuma?
Because I like the kid a lot. He has a lot of potential. And then once I saw him perform on LAN like he did, I knew it wasn't a warrior thing or anything like that. And I wanted to give him a shot.
Cool.
I wanted to get him his shot, kind of.
You said that you used to play Counter-Strike competitively?
Yeah, I played Counter-Strike.
So how did you make the leap from being a Counter-Strike player to a Call of Duty team owner? Like, what made that leap for you? Like,
that kind of sums up all Denial. I played Counter-Strike when I was 12 to 15 years old, quit for 3 to 4 years, got really drunk in college, and then slipped back into Smite. Actually, I played competitively in that too. And then I was on a team, and I started looking at it myself, and I was like, look, I'm not doing as good as these other guys. Let's pick someone up to replace me and make this thing a success. So then I picked up what was then the #1 Smite team, and they won the next event, or came second in the next event. They're a top Smite team. And then I branched into League of Legends, and then I branched into StarCraft, and then Mike Hawkeye from Curse said, you should try Call of Duty. ended up picking up Fatalize, and then somewhere along the line, that's the bird.
That's a bird?
It stopped.
Sounds like a
My wife
velociraptor.
shut it up.
Yeah, it did sound like a velociraptor. Jurassic Park.
That's my pet, Velociraptor. No, and then somewhere along the lines, I picked up Foreplayy. Foreplayy was on one of my teams. Learned a little bit more about the business side of Call of Duty, and then found Zuma, and then grew from there. And that's the kind of the transition. I realized I wasn't going to be a top pro player, so I took a step back and put someone in my shoes. And that's one of the hardest things for a pro player to do, I think, is to say, "Oh, you're better than me," so take the starting role. And I grew from there.
Yeah, that's very, very difficult. I was kind of always curious about your team, and I know a lot of these new teams, and we talked about it last week because we had Freaky Toast on from SV and Hastro. We talked about how a lot of people think that it's easy just to start a team and fly these players around the country and that kind of stuff, and they don't know what it actually takes.
It's really easy if you got a couple $100,000 to throw at a wall and hope it works.
Well, yeah, that's what. And then if it doesn't, you're fine to just walk away. You got to be ready to just walk away from it. So, what kind of tips would you give, just real quick, for someone that was thinking about getting into owning a Call of Duty esports team, someone that wanted to shift to that side of things? They realize they're not a pro player, they're never going to be, but maybe they have a little bit of investment money. They have some people that believe in them. They have a backing. What kind of tips would you give someone that's thinking about getting?
It's not about the money. It's about earning your way up, finding the right people, and getting, in a way, it's about getting lucky and finding the right teams and growing your network. Like, I have about 20 million strong network on LinkedIn, so I can connect to companies every day. So it's just about growing those things and getting the right connections. Like, Micro Center helped us out a lot, and I went and pitched them locally. Their corporate location is within 4 miles of my house. So I went over there and talked to the head of marketing over there. I was like, look, we have a big following. We can market your brand for a lot cheaper than someone else can. Like, if you're going to go give Kim Kardashian a couple $1,000,000, or you can give me 10 grand and I'll give you a lot of impressions. So I sold that to them, and then I ended up working as a consultant over there as well in the gaming divisions. And then you just grow from there and leeway in and find as many companies as you can to support you. And that's the biggest thing is support.
Well, it seems like you figured it out. And I hope your team continues to have the level of success that you guys have had. The last thing I want to ask you, kind of before I shift to Foreplayy for a moment, is, so as I mentioned earlier, your team has had great success in the tournaments, but in the Call of Duty, like the League Season 3, I think you guys are on a losing streak right now. Is there anything specific that's attributing to that, or like where do you think that's coming from?
Not really. I think they're just off right now in the league because, it switches hosts so often. Like we all know, this game has so much to do with host. And in the 2Ks and the 5Ks, we've had high seeds, so we haven't had to deal with it that much. And it's just, and then the team has to learn to realize that there's 75K in the playoffs available for them. It's not an immediate win, but they have to realize there is money on the line, so they need to start trying a little harder and showing up a little bit early and trying to win some of the league matches. They got to turn things around. I talked to them 2 days ago about that, and they know they have to turn it around for that. I think that was in between texts of studies saying that, I don't care, we're dominant. We can't be beaten. I get those texts all the time from all the players. Like, that
is definitely studied. Hands down, if you ask me to guess who on your team said that, I would say the quietest person would probably be Saints, just because that's how he seems.
He's a. What did he say he was? He said he's a clouded leopard. That's what he said he was.
Leopard or leper?
Yeah. Clouded leopard.
Okay. There's a big difference right there.
Zoom actually said I'm dominant on stream in front of like 100,000 people. So that should be the person that stands up to that, right?
I just remember the first time I ever heard of and saw a study, he was screaming when he was playing, was it maybe on Justice with Tipsy? Just screaming.
I remember Columbus when Study was on Justice.
Yeah, just screaming. So, all right. So this is in Foreplayy. You're gonna have to excuse my, don't call it fanboy, but I've been watching your channel for a very long time.
Fanboy.
And you comment on your videos, really, especially when you started to do things with like about the pro scene and things like that. And when I first involved, that's what I would watch, because I could watch Nate Shot and stuff, but he wasn't teaching me anything. I wasn't learning anything about Call of Duty. I actually learned from watching your channel And what frustrates me is that, like, there's a guy in the chat saying, and no disrespect to homie in the chat, who's Foreplayy? You know, and I know you said silent partner and all that kind of stuff, but you know, I've looked into your history way back when I first was introduced to you on YouTube, and after watching video after video after video, you've slowly pieced together quite a story for how you went from the rough beginnings of forming Team Envious and picking up Proofy and just transitioning from to being one of the top teams, period, you know, and then transitioning to actually picking up new guys. You know, I was introduced to Burns because he was playing with you, you know, and so I guess my question is if you would indulge us briefly. I like the hat.
Yeah, I had to do it. You know.
If you would indulge us briefly. Give us, you know, when Astro was on last week, one of the things he said is that at one point, you guys, and I don't know if he meant you, Sid Rock, and Stainville and him, I don't know who he meant, but he said, we will tell the story of what it actually took to go from our humble beginnings where we could barely pay the bills and keep the power on to where we are today, where Team Envious is the first team to ever get sponsored by a major brand like Monster Gaming. And then also still right now is on top of their game. I mean, they're playing some of the best Call of Duty.
Yeah, they can beat anyone but us.
That was a slow jab. Look at him jabbing right now. That was a jab.
And Team Envious is one of the largest brands. I mean, hands down, they're one of the largest brands. And so I kind of wanted you to, and please you to actually indulge us. Don't feel like I'm asking for a 30-second message. Tell us a little bit about, you know, who Skylar Foreplayy Johnson is and how you started and got to where you are today, where you actually have a career in gaming at Gamma Labs.
Okay, well, I'm gonna kind of do a quick synopsis because I don't want this to be, you know, all about me. So Robby's a good dude and he's got a lot to do, so lots to talk about. But it started 2007. I ended up getting hurt, broke my ankle playing college football, and I never really played video games before in my life, so I'm not a real gamer, I guess, you know? Like, I always used to make fun of it. I used to talk shit to people that did. Sorry, my language. I broke that in the first 30 seconds of talking. So I used to, you know, I used to make fun of my brother playing SOCOM 2 all the time. I used to say, well, get off that game, go, you know, go work out and stuff. And I didn't understand what it was at the time. And I ended up getting hurt, and I picked up COD 4, the beta. And I was like so competitive in the game. I was screaming at these kids. I was like, man, get the hell, you know what I mean? Like, I hated it. I hated the whole aspect of it. And then I couldn't really go back to football because I kind of fell into like a little depression and stuff. And that's my excuse, actually. I probably could have, but I was lazy. So I ended up picking up video games, and I knew, at the time, I knew a kid named Fierce and Nemesis from casually playing with them on some stuff, you know? So after that, I was like, hey, you guys got to get this game. It's called COD 4. We're going to become a pro team in it. You just got to believe me. And they're like, what are you talking about, man? Like, we're not going to become pro team. What is pro? So I sent them videos of Final Boss. I used to, like, go back and watch these Final Boss kids. And I was like, man, these guys are, you know, they're living the dream right now. Sponsored by Gilbert and Arenas. And I kind of got addicted to the whole aspect of, like, being competitive in something else outside of football. So in 2008, we played a team called System X. We were playing GBs. At the time, we went 126 and like 80 the first season of GB. We sucked. Like, we weren't that good. And which I guess is decent, but to me that sucks. And sorry if there's someone out there that's 126 and 80 on GB right now. You guys are
that
great.
Exact score. Everyone else has that exact score.
Yeah, I got it all memorized too. And then so we ended up playing a team called System X, and I saw this kid named Stainville, and I'm like, man, get this kid off the shitty System X team, and we're gonna pick him up. So I ended up picking him up, and then they announced the 2008 Pro Circuit. And they were like, hey, we need a team name. It bounced around from some things. Like, we were originally called Flatline. No one knows that. Originally Death Row, which is beyond stupid names. And then I was going through my iPod, and I saw a song. It's called Envious, but they spelled it naturally, like just the normal way to spell it. And then I was like, I'm going to switch that, get creative with it, and then make it just Envy Us. And that's how I got the name Envious. And a lot of people don't know that story either. So picked that up, and we ended up, our first PCL ever, we placed third. And then the second, we placed fourth. And then the third PCL, which is the final one, we placed first. So we never placed outside the top 4. And originally, everyone in the community hated us. They were like, these kids are nerds. Oh, and mind you, in 2008, we had a team house. I'm not saying I started the team house thing, but nobody knows that either. So I guess cat's out of the bag. 2008, we had a team house. I told Stan, he's a kid living in Cali. I was like, move to where I'm at. Just trust me on this. And he ended up flying all the way from Cali. We ended up having a team house in Minnesota with Nemesis, myself, Stainville, and Sidrock ended up moving in. But Sidrock wasn't on the team at the time. And we got this team house going, and we legit couldn't pay our bills. It was so bad. For those of you that know Nexty, he works at Astro. You guys know Nexty, I'm sure. He worked at GB at the time with Fwiz and all them. And Stainville and I would play in every tournament that they put up. And back then, mind you, we're playing for $120 at the time, like in these tournaments, you know. So we're winning these tournaments. We're contacting Nexty next day. You know how it takes 90 days to get your prize or whatever on GB? We would contact them next day and say, hey, we need our check now. So he would go through, he'd put our checks through, and that's how we pay our electricity. That's how we pay our bills. And it was rough. It was a struggle for sure. But we were the only team, besides, I guess, EG now, to stick together for a whole year and play through all the PCLs and stuff together. And I guess, yeah, that was how that whole thing started. Do you want me to keep going? Or?
Yeah, go ahead.
We could turn it over. Robby, I'm sorry, man. You need to step in to say something eventually.
He just said stuff.
Yeah, he was talking for like 15 minutes. You're good. Go ahead.
All right. Well, then, so 2009 hit, and same thing. Played through the whole pro circuit. We ended up winning, I think, 2 more PCLs at the time. There was a point in time where we just weren't losing. We picked up a kid that was hated in the community called Halifax. Still to this day, the best Call of Duty player I've ever seen in my life. Based off natural gun skill, kid was a complete. I'm not going to say the word, but he was definitely the most talented I've ever seen in my life in terms of gun skill. So picked him up, and we were just running through everything. And then the final PCL, he forgot to show up, and he never turned on his Xbox again. And that was Halifax just disappeared after that. Wow. So then PCL 2, that was actually PCL 1. PCL 2, I was like, all right, let's get creative with it. People are starting to hate us, so because we used to play to win. So we used to camp in corners. We didn't care, you know. Like at the time, if it wasn't about winning, you know, we don't care if you're our friends, like at all. We just wanted to win so bad. So we would all camp on Overgrown with silencers, silenced P90s. We'd sit in nade spots. We would have teams legit messaging us. You guys are douchebags. Dude, it was bad. But at the same time, it didn't matter because we were winning. So, and we ended up making a fake character in the community called Paradox. Paradox was actually Sidrock the whole time. And everyone was like, oh, who's Paradox? Is it Assassin? You could ask all the old heads to this day. The funniest story. They were like, oh, is it Choppy? Is it Moho? Who is this? You know, like who's Paradox? And that's right as we picked up, or I found Proofy, that same PCL. So our roster, this is when I picked up Proofy. He was on the team called, what was it? I don't remember what their team name was called right now, but it was him, Sharp, Gumper, and Modi. And they were the only team that was on us. Sorry, my language again, but they were like legit destroying us. Well, I'm breaking up this team real quick because it was the only team that beat us. And I was like, I'm sorry, Fierce, but you're not performing. He was our weakest player at the time. And we dropped him. I picked up squeaky voice Proofy. And we toned down his attitude a little bit, and we ended up not losing one game that whole PCL. Never lost a playoff game or anything. And so then PCL 3 rolled around. He sketched on us for Fear, which didn't make sense, but it's Call of Duty. What do you do? And he was young, you know? So he ended up sketching on us, and then we picked up, I believe we picked up Modi at the time, and then went to, sorry, that was my computer, if you could hear that.
It's 7 o'clock.
Yeah. So we ended up placing, I think, 3rd in the final one. Then we went to the national championship, placed 2nd again. And MW2, you know, it's the same thing. Like, I'm not going to keep going through the whole history of it, but yeah, there's definitely, I think, COD 4 and MW2 are where we definitely established the legacy at Envy in terms of just winning, you know, and brands. Picking up sponsors was actually the biggest thing. Hastro came on late 2009, and without Hastro, we definitely would have froze to death probably in the house or something would happen. So, like, whatever. But
so, how did you? I mean, I know we're missing like 2 years of history, but how did you? And if you can say anything about it, but how did you go from? I'm sure a very loud and out there player on Team Envious. Everybody knew who you were, what team you were on, that you were going to win. How did you transition from there to being almost a silent member of Envious, where some people if they don't watch the videos, they wouldn't know you were actually part of the team.
Yeah, I talk about this a little bit, but I try not to touch on it, but I will, I think, just for this. To me, Envy was built to be something, and it's not about me, you know, I could care less. I built it and I made it to live on, you know, in what we're doing. So a lot of people, and that, you know, I've been frustrated at times. I'll be like, man, Hastro gets all the credit for creating Envy, and he didn't even come on until 2 years later. And I've had that animosity and that jealousy in you know, in me, and I kind of like, I push that aside now because I realize it's for the greater good. And when I stepped back, it was, I think Black Ops 1, I ended up not wanting to play because I was 3 years deep in competitive. And in that 3 years, I let my life slip. You know, I stopped working out. I legit put on so much bad weight. And I was like, you know what? Like, now I conquered this in my eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I knew COD was going somewhere because I knew inside details from Hastro and stuff. And I knew it was going to go somewhere, but I stepped back from the scene for Black Ops. And I said, you know what? I want you guys to take this while I'll kind of do behind the scenes stuff. So I was booking travel, and I was doing a bunch of stuff. And in 2010, we ended up moving into the team house in North Carolina, so we were all together. No, actually, yeah, in 2010. So 2011, when I stepped away from it, that's kind of where things started really picking up. Hastro was going to the events, coaching. So everyone thought Envy's Hastro's team, and still to this day they do, which is fine, you know, because it's not, to me, man, it's not about that, you know. Like I appreciate everything he's done and stuff, and to me, like, I know like what I've done, and that's really all that matters. And you should know that, you know. I'm sure me and you always, yeah. So yeah, but certain times I'll be like, damn, I wish people knew, you know what I mean. But at the same time, that's not what it's about, man. So
players.
Well, to be honest with you, go ahead. What'd you say, Robby?
I was just saying the players should get the respect and the outreach from it anyway. That's what I always think.
Yeah.
So I think we have the same outlook on that.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing of legacy is leaving something that's going to last longer than you, like that's going to live beyond yourself. And so you definitely, whatever you envisioned, whatever you dreamed of, I'm sure Team Envious has surpassed that, like has outgrown even your own expectations, unless you expect more. I mean, I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll say quick, there's some more stuff that you know, like we have this greater vision that hopefully it gets to. There's two more things that we got to do, and when that happens, I think then I can answer that and be like, yeah, you're right. You know, until that, then I don't think so. You know.
All right. Well, it looks
you
like
know me, man.
Yeah, no, I know, and I that's the thing is I've watched your videos long enough, and you say what, and I don't remember what the comment was on one of your videos. You said it was perfectly accurate. It was like you say what you believe other people need to hear at the moment. And so you've always been very inspirational, motivational, all that kind of stuff. And I know people tell you that. I look at a guy like Censor in the community right now, and it's almost like what you would have done if you were a player. Like, as far as him transitioning and talking about, like, he had a video that said how he went from being a skinny little kid to a year and a half later being ripped and, you know, being huge, and what it means for him. I watched his recent video where he said what he eats every morning and what to do before you go to the gym. And I was actually inspired by it. You know, it was actually, go ahead.
Like, I was going to say, even that, if you talk to Censor, and he'll admit this too, and that's why people are talking about this whole fitness movement. Like, there's no reason to claim any movements or anything like that. Censor came to my house at, we had an Envy Twitch LAN. I don't know if you remember that. It was a long time ago. We had Optic there, Envy, a bunch of like what would be called YouTube celebs. And Censor came there, and it's right as I started getting Stainville to work out. So Stainville's starting to get jacked. You know what I mean? We're hitting the gym every day. And Censor shows up 130 pounds. And if you talk to Censor, he'll admit this. He's like, I want to start working out. So he got inspired by that. And that's what's cool about it, you know, because he actually lives 5 minutes from me. I see him at my gym almost every day. You know, I don't know if you guys knew that, but so it's kind of crazy how it all panned out, you know? So.
Wow. It's interesting what goes on behind the scenes, and to be honest, I appreciate your humility. So before we kind of transition a little bit, one question I had, because you talk about it all the time, but if you could only give 2 tips to people that are aspiring to be pro players, what would you give them?
I would say the best tip that I can give you is, like you said, one of your 3 words is patience. If you think, because I had it easy in terms of like actually making it to a pro because there's less competition. You know what I mean? Granted, the competition was great, there's less people
Yeah.
doing this. Imagine how many people are trying to do it, just like the NFL and NBA, anything except probably more. You know, you got to stay patient because all it takes is one break. And obviously, Robby's players, that's a prime example. You know, I've seen so many good players come into the scene off a lucky break. Look at Nifty. All it took was what, one flag stop. You know what I mean? All it took was it's all about that one break and that moment where like you have to capture it. That's what it's about. That one time that you have. Yeah, that's it. So.
Well, yeah, you look at a guy like Classic, you know, who came in to play with his buddy, Replays, who he doesn't play with anymore, but he's still a good player. You know, he's someone that this was kind of like discovered, but he was a real life friend, and so and they played together for a while. So, I guess I want to ask Robby a question before we go to questions from Twitter, which Fatty is going to lead for us. But Robby, who would you say? From looking around, from watching the league, and from talking to your team, who is your guys' biggest competition at Nashville? Like, everybody's wondering if Denial can compete.
EG.
Yeah. Is it because they didn't play in the last, or like they haven't played in anything?
It's because STiKS is probably the only player that's as delusionally confident as our players are right now.
That's a good way to put it.
That Scump said it. Scump said the only way to win an
Delusional
event is to be as delusional confident as you can. 'Cause like when you talk, for instance, our team study on Friday night said, "Hey, when we win, I'm taking the check home." On Friday night. And once you get that confident in a game like Call of Duty where it's all gun skill and winning gunfights, you're not losing because you challenge everything, you hit every shot, and you get those random one bullet kills where Saints just goes, "Was he hurt? I swore he was hurt." It's just yeah. I mean, that's what I would say.
Yeah, I think EG definitely has something to prove with their new roster and all the craziness going on over there with AXE's suspensions, and they haven't been able to rise to the top in a bit. So I think Fatty, who do you think is their biggest competition? Would you say EG as well?
I would say EG or I think Envy. I mean, Envy's
6-1.
Yeah,
Oh
6-1.
my
But
God.
it's still. I mean, that
Still
can
jabbing,
change
man.
anytime. That can
I got
change
a jab.
anytime.
I've only been able to jab for like a month, Foreplayy.
No.
Haven't for years.
And we're not in the same room, so I can jab as much as I want.
He's gonna be like, just wait till I see you at Nashville.
Wait, do I talk like that? Because I sound like Hulk Hogan now?
No. I just imagine you mad. I want to see mad
yeah.
Skylar.
Oh, man.
Actually, I don't. That would probably like freak me out. Turn green
He
and
doesn't
stuff.
turn green. No, he
I was
doesn't.
gonna say you made it sound like he's gonna be the Hulk, like Bruce Banner. Just turn into him and switch it out.
I'm Bonesaw. Oh.
All right. So before we switch to questions from Twitter, Foreplayy, I did have one last question for you, and I'm gonna make sure I put this in the kind of terms because I don't want it to sound like I think you aren't worthy of playing. That's what I'll say.
Oh, I knew this.
Well, my question is, in all honesty, like you have achieved so much. I mean, you just told a story that, you know, I can't wait to put it on my channel for people to see. It's one of the reasons why I wanted you to come on, is just to expose who you are to the community that doesn't know you, all these new kids. So, my question is, you've achieved so much when it comes to playing. I believe you won a national championship medal for 2.
2010. So it was a long time ago, but
yeah. So. But you guys, nobody could touch you on PCLs back then. You consistently had an eye for talent and future players and people that were going to be able to be in the community long term. And now you're in the business side. You know, you're actually helping to run a channel with over 100,000 subscribers. You're growing a brand in the community, Gamma. And so, and you're setting an example for a whole when it comes to just being healthy and doing the right thing and being humble. I mean, you're just a great example. So my question is, why the drive to stay on the STiKS? Like, what is it that keeps driving you to keep putting teams together and staying on the STiKS and keep giving it a shot?
To be honest, like, I know I'm not where I was skill-wise. You know what I mean? And if SMD ever got taken out of the mix, I would retire tomorrow. But I think
Game would die if that ever happened.
right, that's true. That's true. So I think S&D is a game type where it comes down to not, you know what I don't even need to go into that.
Yeah.
To be honest, I have one more goal for this, and that's why I'm still playing. I even think there's been teams that I've dragged down and teams that I've helped out. You know what I mean? Like the last event was probably the best event I've had in a long time, and a lot of people told me that too. You know, and that was in Anaheim. That was the last one I went to, and
Yeah.
I'd like to say I have one more thing that I'm trying to do. Right now, I'm teaming with two kids, Repulse and Chirico, and these kids are so goal driven, and I'm not ready to quit on them yet. And I mean that in terms of, if I have the ability to help push their name out there and get them picked up, whether it's separate teams, same teams, etc., that's the last thing I want to do. I'm not doing it for myself anymore. You know what I mean? Like you said, you know, eventually my hands are gonna start cramping and go to retirement home. No, no, I just there's these two kids, and I really want to help them out. And the same thing was with Hysteria. You know, I was teaming with a kid named Hysteria. I didn't want to let him down either. He ended up retiring and doing his own thing, but. Yeah, I'm pretty much doing it for these two kids. Hopefully, when I retire, I can be like I was the pipeline to the pros. You know, like I helped get people's names out there, or whatever. And same with Robby. You know, in terms of a business standpoint, hopefully I help Robby, you know, get into the scene. The dude did it all by himself. The dude's mad smart. But hopefully, like maybe I help Robby push out, and that's what is cool. You know, like you establish these friendships, these brand relationships and CEO relationships. You know, like today I was talking to Robby, and it's crazy how this all works. You know, so. I think my time is going to be after Advanced Warfare. If I can make it through a whole year, I'm done no matter what. But if I only make it like 6 months or something like that, then so be it, you know. But I'm going to give it one last shot just to play and just try to enjoy myself. Because once I retire, I'm not coming back. You know, there's no.
Yeah. You're not going to Brett Favre it? You sure?
Yeah, no Brett Favre. I'm already Brett Favre, man. Right now, I'm Brett Favre on the Jets. So I need to figure something out.
I think I could add to this. I think if Foreplayy could run 8 teams of all kids that need a shot, he would do it just to try and give people a shot because that's what he wants to see for the
1,000%. Yeah, man. Yep.
All right. Well, I'm going to hand it over to Fatty. And if you have a question, you can throw one out, or you can switch over straight to questions from Twitter.
We're just going to go straight to questions from Twitter because we have a bunch of good ones. A lot of them you actually have answered already, just in, you know, well, both of you have answered. Let's go ahead and where is this one? This one's for Robby.
Wow.
Where did
you actually got a lot when I was
yeah, I'm trying to scan through. I had it and then I clicked on something and it here it is. What advice, this is from J Cloud or John. What advice can you give on starting and creating a respectable brand and how to build a loyal fan base?
I kind of answered this before, so it's all about networking. For me, it was, and everyone has different success stories. I'm sure Foreplayy can attend to this. Like I think he was more in the gaming side of things. I was more in the business side of things. So I did the networking to try and become successful. And then, like I said, finding the right people. Like if you have friends that are kind of into gaming, push them into it so you have people you trust to start. That's the biggest thing. Like when I started Denial with one of my teammates. Like that, just finding the right people, and then don't be afraid to take a risk on somebody. I think Fatty was even with us for a little bit at Denial. Like we wanted him with us anyway, and it's just always pushing to have somebody with you that you think you can help. That create a better community aspect for it.
And this is like a kind of a second part. How does it feel? Or sorry, this is from Daniel or Mario Express 123. How does it feel to be the owners of an organization that have won a tournament? That has won a tournament.
That's for both of them.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Foreplayy. I just talked.
I mean, it's good after the first one. Like the first one, I'm sure Robby could say like that's a good feeling. You know what I mean? Because at that moment you're on top of the world, but you have to make sure it doesn't create the monster of cockiness and people wanting more. You know, there's a lot of things that come along with winning that's not all positive. But in terms of Robby's success, it's definitely just about to hit. You know what I mean? Like I'm not saying he hasn't had success before, but I think that's when things start to get serious in terms of business branding, because he put together four people that he knew at that point in time were going to take over the game. You know, and that's the best feeling in the world, because no one can take that away from you until the next event. You know, like after we won, we would relish it and be like, damn, you know, like we just won. Let's enjoy that moment. But then you got to get right back to work, because in a game like this, man, Advanced Warfare, there's no, you know, you never know what's going to happen. You really never know. It's hard to be a dominant team in this game, I feel. So
I think the hardest thing is, like you said, with the egos and stuff, keeping people satisfied with what they're striving for. And I know with big companies like the ones me and you are dealing with on a daily basis, Skylar, you have to, there's turnover rates in these kind of things. So there's almost one event or two events between signing a large deal. Like it can take up to 4 to 6 months to sign a large deal. And I can add that to people asking, how do you have success in esports? It's going to take you time to get these big sponsors if you ever get them. And it's a lot about luck. It's a lot about the sales, but it's going to take time and there's turnover. So you have to, and I kind of put my own foot where it shouldn't have been when I tweeted out and said, look, $500 a month per player, it doesn't sound like a lot, but for an esports org, it's quite a bit. It's more than most other games are making. So now I'm expected even more after a win, and then if they win again, I gotta keep turning things over. So it's gonna take time.
All
Robby,
right.
you guys just Fanny. Robby, did you just recently sign with STiKS?
Yeah.
And how long did that take you to get, or did they approach you?
1 year and a half. I've been talking to STiKS ever since I got into COD, just because I met Mike at Atlanta, my first ever event, and tried to like leeway into a STiKS sponsorship with success from other games, but there's no way to do that. I mean, they sell controllers; they're not trying to sell to my League of Legends players. So but that's kind of an exception, I would say. Like a company like Webroot that we signed with, a big antivirus company, it takes the best part of 4 to 5 months to sign a deal like that.
Wow. All right. Thanks.
All right. This is for both of you. It's from UPL Picks or Picks COD. What has been the impact the league, the league, the MLG league, has had on AM teams?
I'll let you go first, Robby, because I'll let you go.
Which one? Which league are you talking about?
The MLG
the amateur league or the MLG league? Okay. So the MLG league for amateur teams,
yeah, it's kind of a broad question.
It gives them a shot. It gives them something more to shoot for, as opposed to good luck winning event. Like form a team and win an event. Enjoy that goal, because you'll probably never reach it if you're just getting into Call of Duty. And reaching the league, I mean, that can happen. That's attainable. Look at the new teams we have that were, whether they were bought in or whether they were joined together, like that's attainable. A top 8 thing in a league, I think, is attainable. Even top 12, I think it is. But in terms of Call of Duty in general, I think the league is awesome. I think Adam has done a real good job over there at MLG's trying to form this league and make everything right. And I think we're finally going in the direction of professionalism. Fire alarms are going off. This is awesome. Fire alarms.
Bird? Are you sure that's not the bird?
Your Velociraptor scratched the fire alarm on the ceiling.
Wait, was that a fire alarm at your house? I thought that was my house. That's how loud it was.
His wife's cooking.
Oh, he's talking to someone.
I think he's saying, hold on.
Wait, did you guys notice that, though? The fire alarm went off, and he just kept talking.
Yeah, salt.
The house is on fire.
I'm doing a video. Like, put the fire out. I'm trying to talk.
I forget what I was saying now. No, like I like what Adam's doing a lot. It's finally moving in the direction of other esports, because a lot of the other esports, like League of Legends, Dota 2, are much farther in maturity when it comes to Call of Duty. So that's a great step in the direction of that. And that's pretty much all I have to say.
All right, so
go ahead. You had something to say on that?
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna catch heat for this. I already know I'm gonna get a phone call after this, but I hate it. I think if you're gonna do it and you're gonna make it about money, which we all know that's what it's about, stream views. It's about getting top 8 exposure. I love it in terms of what Robby said for the teams that are in it in Call of Duty in general, because it legitimizes Call of Duty. But I hate it if you're an AM player. I hate it if you're a player that wants to, like, why not create an AM league with the same thing? I think they should go back to having semi-pro teams. I think 16 through 32 should be semi-pro, or even, well, I guess now there's only 8 pro teams, but back in the day, it was 16 pro teams, I believe, and then 16 through 32 was semi-pro teams, and then 32 through whatever was amateur, and like through the bottom half. You don't have to have any rewards really for semi-pro if you fall in that pro point category or anything like that, but at least let it be known that, hey, I'm a semi-pro player, because right now it's hard to get into there, like, and I'm saying this for people that I see grinding every day and putting in the same amount of work that haven't caught that break yet. Like, obviously I respect the pros, top 8, you know what I mean? That's a lot of work. These kids put in so much work, probably more than what we did. Well, I'm not going to say that, but probably like a lot, I know what it's like. And I just feel that they need to come up with something for the AMs, and even quote unquote that semi-pro idea. I would love to see it happen again. I think they did that back in Halo too. There was a semi-pro structure, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I obviously could be wrong, but I'm almost 100% sure on that. So,
I think. Sorry, I'll add to that. I think what Foreplayy is saying is absolutely correct, but I think that'll grow after we finalize the transition into being a top 3 esport guaranteed. Once we grow this pro league, then the semi-pros will come, and we have PA trying to do it. But if we had someone like MLG take it over and really catapult it, there's no reason that what Foreplayy is saying can't happen. It can't be a success-driven semi-pro league. Why not?
Yeah,
even have semi-pro league that leeways into the pro league. That's perfect. It's set up for itself.
Yeah, I just think there's 2 things that have to happen. It has to be a pro player union. We need to quit talking about it, and someone needs to lead that. And I think that's going to be very valuable towards the owners, towards everything, because there needs to be structure for that to happen. And then number 2 would be, I think that people need to realize MLG, they're doing big things, and I'm not anti-MLG at all. So I know that when I get this phone call after this, the STiKS, I'm going to make sure that's appointed. I am anti people thinking that we're taking huge steps when we've already been on TV. Not we, but MLG's already been on TV. You know what I mean? For those that watch
Halo.
Yet again, we're not taking exactly the biggest steps. And yes, we are. We're taking steps, but it's not what people think it is. Just because you're giving crumbs, don't think you're giving a steak. And that's one thing. Obviously, I don't even want to get started into this because I'm going to turn this into a heated debate. Not the heated debate.
Episode number 2.
We're about to be out of here again. So that's gonna be the addition. I gotta wear a mask or something. We're gonna mask.
Foreplayy will make a YouTube video and post it all, and we can.
We'll have a voice changer. He's gonna sound like Darth Vader.
Yeah, be like Bane.
Vader.
Oh, Bane's voice is awesome.
Bane's voice scares me.
Yeah, Bane was very scary.
All right, next question. This comes from M Tank. Whoa,
hold up, Patty.
Wow.
The question I had for Foreplayy, you said a pro players union. Halo had these rules, Call of Duty is kind of, do you lose your pro status if you place outside of a certain position? Who is a pro player, in your mind? How do you determine that? If you make a union, who gets included in that union?
Wouldn't it, so you'd have to have your head of representatives, which would be anyone knowledgeable in the space, if Aik's retired tomorrow, Aik should be the leader of the pro player union, just like Derek Fisher was of the NBA, Okay. So he would be the head of the union, and that's basically the union isn't about having all the pro players involved. It's about having each representative, whether it's from the captain of the team that is as the pro player at that time, and those guys just look out for the pro players, make sure that you're getting the proper funding you deserve, make sure that the owners, another big thing is sketching. I love how the league is eliminating that. You know what I mean? That's a big deal. But also at the same time, I think for COD to be successful, and this could be crazy. I'm not saying I'm right on this because I really don't know. But what if we did for let's say a year, you had to be on the same team to where there's brand attachment, to where just like a bad football team, you have to watch them go 0-16 if they're just not that good. You know what I mean? And then they
murder in Call of Duty.
Wait, what? I'm sorry.
I said there'd be a lot of murder in Call of Duty.
Yeah, and that's the I'm not saying this would work, but what if you made them stick together? And then it's like you go through trials and tribulations. I love seeing a team that's not that good become good, or not through roster change, through hard work and effort.
University, yeah.
Exactly, but maybe that's just me. I'm not really sure. I just think it'd be pretty sick to watch. So.
Well, there's different ways to do that, right?
Oh, go ahead, Robby.
Look what Dota 2, Foreplayy. I don't know how much you know about Dota 2, but they have 9 months.
Yeah, not at all.
If they don't stay together for 9 months, they don't make the world's largest tournament.
See, now that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
The international, they do not invite teams if they have any instability in their rosters. So they hold the whole brand to kind of a higher level, and then they get invited to a $12 million tournament. Yeah,
now that's an awesome thing, and whether it would work or not, I don't want to sit and be like, oh, this is what we should do, and then it'd be horrible, and people are like, Foreplay's an idiot. I'm not.
Remember Foreplayy and Denalcio? They all up. Look at that.
Right.
That's one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's 2. Sorry. Sorry, we're very passionate about Call of Duty, so the words.
The words fly.
No, I think you guys are right, and I think people. When I started, of course, as a channel that reports on competitive Call of Duty, when there's roster changes, my channel explodes. That's how I grew in January and December. I picked up 13,000 subscribers in 2 months because of that. But I stopped eventually uploading every trade. And people were like, why aren't you reporting on this person going to this team? You know, especially when it was like, after I got a video, I made a video of Parasite going to Optic and then Parasite leaving Optic and Scumpy leaving Optic and Scumpy going back to Optic. It was like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm waiting for something major. So when Karma was leaving EG, I made a video about that, you know, but that was a big deal, you know. But I think what's underneath what you guys are saying that people don't realize, and this is what I talked about in the past, is that dealing with adversity and learning how to work on a team, it builds character. And when you get a job past gaming, you're going to have to learn to work with people that you may not like, that you don't want to see every day. You don't want to be in meetings with them. And I understand because what we could be creating is a culture where these young guys think that, oh, if I don't like something, I can just switch. I can just leave. I can just change. And I think that what the league is doing, I agree with Foreplayy, that it's better. It's promoting an environment where these guys actually have to have long backroom conversations. But I also think maybe combining that with a long-term contract, if you break your team, you don't go to COD champs, you know, or something like that. So I don't know. I think that it's better for us when you go through adversity and win. How much does that mean? You know, like, how much does that mean when you've been with the team for so long? Like Merc watching the Envy trades for months, like seeing people, hey, you're on my team. Oh, see you later, Goonjar. You know, see you later, Scumpy. See you later, Study. See you later, Parasite. You know, it's like you see all these people coming and going, and then finally to rise to the top. I know beating Optic was huge for him, but to also, and he just stuck with the organization, you know, and eventually got what he wanted, you know, winning Gfinity. So that's just my opinion. I think that teams sticking together, I agree with you guys. It would be for the best if we could figure out a way to make it happen. One more question, Fatty.
All right, one more question. This comes from M Tank or M7 Ank. It's a really long question, actually. It says, will we see a reoccurrence of the monopoly of teams that keep winning, i.e. EG, Envy, Denial, Optic? Will these teams keep winning throughout the next game because the skill gap in theory should be higher? I mean, I haven't played it. We don't know. I don't know if he's played it. I don't know if you guys have played it. But do you think we're going to see those teams keep winning and then the AMs actually drop off?
Who wants to go on that one? I wasn't sure.
I would have to play the game first before I would be able to.
That's why.
But,
yeah.
But I think there's always going to be those players. This is an FPS game, we have to remember. There's always going to be those players that have the ability to shoot. Like if you take a Counter-Strike player, like before I played Counter-Strike, I played Halo on the PC, and I went into Counter-Strike and was just as good as some of the top players because I could shoot. If you have a controller in your hand and you have the ability to shoot, you're going to be good at most first-person shooter games. So I don't think that'll ever change unless they turn this into like World of Warcraft Live or something. Then the skill gap will widen huge. But as of right now, I don't see the skill gap being that huge on Advanced Warfare so that there's 4 teams winning every event. What happened with Complexity is kind of unreal. I don't think it's ever happened at any other.
That's inhumane. That doesn't, like what they did. Even when Farico did it, you know, we were like, wow, that's a pretty good winning streak for LANs. Yep. But when Complexity went on their run and what they're like, looking at Aikes's 1-1-1-1-1-1-2, 1-1-1-1-1-2, 1-1, you know, it's like it's almost scary. Like I don't think we will ever see anything like that again if that's the kind of monopoly that they're talking about. I do think top teams are going to be top teams. This is like the Yankees being able to recruit the best players. You know, if Optic says I need one, there's going to be players from other teams that are going to be like, hey, Robby, you know, can I talk to you about wearing green at the next event? You know, I mean, it's just a reality of what we're doing. Envy is another one of those teams. Like when Envy raises their hand and says we need a player, there's players that, regardless of all the loyalty in the world, for their own personal brand, are going to consider going and playing for Team Envious, for great owners. Not that Robby or any of these other owners aren't great, you know. Like I love what Freaky Toast does. You know, I think he's a great guy, but he lost his whole squad. You know, and so I think you are going to see continued dominance amongst the select, maybe 6 teams, but then these random teams are going to come out of the blue, like Denial, that is going to be someone who you may say in the future Denial will win because Robby's a good guy, he's going to build a good team. But they put a little bit of it is luck, and the right players happen to be available and want to play on denial. And now look who they are, and so now they're one of those teams that people are talking about, and it's going to stay that way for a while. But I don't think you can remove, kind of like Robby said with the gun skill thing, the best players are going to find themselves on the largest brands, the biggest teams. And the Lakers are bad right now, but give them 5 years, they'll get Kevin Durant or somebody else when his contract runs out, and they'll rebuild, and they'll be a top team in the West again. It's really about recruiting the right players, and I think they have the most leverage to do that. So,
what you're adding with basketball reference is good because that's what esports is going towards. We're going towards being like sports franchises. So there's going to be like the Big Ten of orgs that all have the ability. And then we're all going to be on year-long contracts. So there's not going to be any more of this optic says I need one, and then somebody scatters and goes, hey, guess what? Can I leave? No, you're under contract, and we're with brands that we have to support. So that's what the league's helping change, and that's one of the reasons I like it quite a bit.
Foreplayy, did you have any input on that?
I just think that in terms of the skill gap to the game, this game, Advanced Warfare, the skill gap to me is just so minimalistic because of what the game brings. And like the more things that get added to the game, it's getting crazy. Like we just keep going and going and going. Like eventually, when you look back at COD 4, and I hate to be an old COD 4 head, but I'm gonna say it. You had 2 guns, maybe 3 guns that you would use. You use an M16, use a 74U or an MP5, 3 guns. And then not only that, you have what the league would allow you, which I wish they would go back. If they would go back to the structure of 1 stun, 1 nade. That's it. 1 stun, 1 nade. Bring back some gun skill. Let's do that. And, let's see these top kids. Because there's some kids out there that know how to point and shoot. Just like Robby said, like a lot of kids can point and shoot. And then some kids can really point and shoot. Like Proofy back in the day. Proofy now. All these kids, study. Look at, there's some absolute animals now that can't shine with their gun skill because they're getting blown up by a trophy system from trying to throw a nade or whatever the case may be. Like
meta.
Yeah, I just with the like you said, the meta of the game changing. I personally think that if we would just give it a try and go back to what it was, and maybe not what it was, but just more of a simplistic style of gaming. And yes, it's not going to attract the pub kids that they're trying to do, you know what I mean, or the average viewer. That's the only downfall. But maybe we get to a point eventually where we have so many people engulfed in the competitive scene that the rules, like people will stand by, like, hey, what's the rules for it? You know what I mean? Well, we want that to be the #1 question. What's the rules for this? I think that's where we need to go. So I'll just leave it at that. But
the unfortunate truth is that Advanced Warfare is the opposite of what you're saying.
Exactly. Yeah.
That is the unfortunate truth.
Have you seen some of the in that game?
Yes, it's going to add levels of meta that we've never ever seen. A brain is going to beat fingers in that game.
Yeah, that's going to be the thing. Like with the jetpacks and we're just getting crazy. Like eventually, and that's why I said if I make it a year, then I'm out. The fact that
you don't break the game. Yeah.
I might make it 3 weeks and just salute and make a retirement video. And
I actually think you're going to be good at this game. I think like the way you play, you're so aggressive that I think you'll end up being good at this game. To be honest,
that's awesome. He's a lot.
But I have actually. Do you remember? I played against you once in a GB.
Oh snap!
What?
It was like right at the
beginning. Turned on me.
No, it was right in the beginning of this game, and it was on Octane.
Here it is on video.
I was surprised you did not upload that video.
No, I actually do know what you're talking about now because I think we talked about this before.
What?
Well, I think we've had that. Well, we had this conversation on Twitter after we played, I believe.
Yeah.
Some type of engagement happened after we played.
Yeah, and you pooped all over me, and I was like, please just don't upload this because I have never been spawn trapped so hard in my life, and it was when who were you talking about earlier that retired? Hysteria. Yeah, Hysteria. Hysteria was on the team, and I think Shariko.
Yeah,
it was bad.
Yeah, Hysteria, and I'm not trying to give anyone shout-outs, but that kid is so dirty, man. Like, I think Robby actually Robby had a fallout with him, too. We tried to get him back. Robby knew he was good. He was just like, he did not know how to manage himself, man. He's like one of those awesome players that just didn't know where he was going type of thing, so.
He was on the team when you were on my team.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He was dirty, right? I don't know if you remember. He just didn't know what he's like. He's not a cancer. He just didn't exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Not a cancer. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That was like the worst experience I've ever had play. Like I shut off my Xbox and I was like, I'm never gonna go pro.
We put Fatty into retirement, man.
Oh no, it was bad. Like
You're gonna get me back next game. Watch.
Oh jeez. Oh my gosh. But yeah, because of that experience, I think you're gonna do well. I also think Denial actually is gonna have a really strong team going into the next game because I think Robby built a great team. A bunch of Slayers that can play fast, and I think that's really what we're going to see. And I think some of the other teams are going to have issues, and I think there is going to be a big skill gap. But we'll see. We'll see how it works out. We might even just end up banning everything and dumb it down. But
ban it down to 2 nades.
Yeah, which I hope doesn't happen. I think we need to start going toward that whole League of Legends style where everybody plays the same game, but
it has differences though. You got to be able to throw curveballs. That's what makes the fans love it.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll see.
Well, I think I agree, but like even Halo 2, remember that? Like that was so sweet because it was just everyone got their VR. You know what I mean? And I don't know.
And
Yeah,
click
it
3
is,
times.
yeah. It
Remember
is
Halo
going
1
to
with
be-
the pistol?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually hate. I remember that was in
Oh,
my
the
trash
pistol on
talking
Halo 1 was
video game stage.
I loved Halo 1 PC.
the best. Halo 1 is the best. I've played through the campaign on that game probably 20-something times, and every time I find somebody that hasn't played through it, I'm like, "Oh, come over, let's play it.
Let's play through it again.
We're bringing it back.
Trying to prestige.
And then they're just following me the whole time. They're like just following me around the game. Like, where are we going? Just follow me. We don't have to fight those guys. Get in the Warthog. Yeah.
That game you can play through like the first 3 levels in melee only, I think.
Yeah.
It's like one of the only.
That game is the best. That game, I mean, literally best story.
The library scared the crap out of me.
Changed gaming. You know, the Flood, when you first saw the Flood, you were flipping out.
Oh.
Man. Anyway, all right. So, thank you guys for being on the show. I really appreciate it. You guys have been amazing guests. We'll definitely have both of you back. This has been a good 2 weeks of people being on the show. Killers 10, thank you for subbing. And whoever else that was that sub, thank you guys for subbing. Use the code Kingdom for 10% off G Fuel. And I believe we were going to have Merc on this week, but he couldn't make it. And so if we have him on next week, that's going to be 3 weeks in a row of Envy. So we're just going to change our name to STiKS Envy. I mean, we're just going to put an underscore. And
so much for you being an Optic fanboy.
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
tides.
Optic has not been on the sticks. So
Somebody called me a fanboy in the chat because I have so many jerseys hanging up. And it's like, so wait.
You have no green.
No, that's in the closet. It's the only one I can wear.
Oh, you put the Optic jersey in the closet and left it.
Because I wear it.
Shots fired.
Oh,
could you imagine if I
Fighting Fatty hides the green wall. Oh man.
Oh, it's because I wear it. It fits.
Oh, okay. Well, we could get more views, if you pull it out.
Oh, I wore it one time.
You get more views for putting it in the closet. Let's be honest. You'll just get yelled at.
Yeah,
that's true. Actually, people would come here to rage. So the way we end our show each week is that every person gets to say, kind of like your elevator, 30 seconds or less speech. You can say whatever you want to whoever you want. So you can speak to an individual or everyone, your channel, doesn't really matter. You can say whatever you want. We're going to go Robby, Fatty, Skylar, and then I'll close it out.
I love how I go first. That's sweet. My elevator pitch? You guys don't want to hear that. That's what all the companies hear.
You don't have to go to the elevator pitch.
We can actually all learn.
You can say whatever you want. Yeah, we could.
Actually, I can't give my elevator pitch. That'll give away all my secrets. That's not even fun.
I'm still trying to get DX Racer to give me a Fat Boy chair so I could review it. But
I like $400.
Me too.
Big and tall chair.
No, I guess I'd tell all the people watching the channel, 90 people, just keep tuning into stuff like this because this is what grows esports. Anybody that can stand out and make an actual show like Anthony's doing, it's a good thing for esports. So help it out, give it a follow, and I hope everyone keeps following Denial and we can win the next event. Maybe I'll get to see Foreplayy and I can give jabs in person.
Love it.
Fatty, you're up.
Oh, I forgot. I'm Short, Fat, and Happy. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Go check out my latest review on YouTube. I went over actually a really good priced headset. It's only $40. Not the best sound, but hey, well, no, not the best mic, but for the price, it's awesome. Other than that, thank you for hanging out. It was a pleasure to hang out with these two legends. Love y'all. We'll see you next time.
All right, I'm gonna do this one quick. Well, quick as I can. I want to say shout out to everyone that I did this with. Obviously, Robby, Fatty, Kingdom. You guys, such an important growth stature in the community, and everyone else that's trying to do it. But mainly the players. I think all you amateur players that don't really know what to do, just try to follow these guys. Try to follow in their footsteps. Some of you guys aren't going to be players. Some of you guys are going to be CEOs of the next big team, and you never know that who that'll be in 6-7 years or whatever. So follow Robby, or even Fatty with what he's doing, getting into casting, just dipping into all these different avenues. Esports is an endless thing, and it can open up a lot of opportunities, but it's up to you to create them. If you don't create it, then you know what I mean. Nothing's going to come to you. So definitely just stay sharp at it. So.
Awesome. Well, we dropped Kingdom Soldier from the call, so I guess I will end the show. We're gonna run some ads right now because we don't run ads during the show. So hang out for the ads if you want. If not, just hang up. Anyways, again, thank you two for stopping by and being with us. We gotta thank Goalie. He does all the production, does the graphics, and does a wonderful job. Make sure you're following him at Goalie TV. There's 2 E's in Goalie. Other than that, we love you, and we actually really do love you. Remember who you are and what you stand for. And
we have 2
wow,
on this.
we just split Foreplayy in half. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Oh, someone screenshot that, put on Twitter, please. That's gonna be 2 Foreplays.
Anyways, so yeah, 2 Foreplays. Watch the commercial. Have a good night.
Hey, I'm back.
Oh, you're back. I just ended the show.